Believe it or not, I used to be a history, social studies, and geography teacher for 7th and 8th grade public school. It was many moons ago, but today I'm going to break out my grading thinking cap and grade each and every single WWE current main roster champion. We're starting with the Usos. I'm going to give the Usos a B-. And the only reason why they're getting it that high is because I'm giving them some excused absences for Jimmy going to help Naomi during her pregnancy. So that was an excused absence, but in all honesty, they've had plenty of opportunities to get a real storyline going, but they have not. Instead, all we get is either the Usos coming out together to yeet or just Jay coming out to yeet. When Jimmy was gone, they could have been attacked by the Creed brothers. It literally could have been attacked by the Creed brothers, and we could have set up a good return for Jimmy Uso. But nope, we didn't do that. We just put Jay on the commercial breaks. Now the Usos did beat a strong team in AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, so that's a good mark for them. But other than that, nothing really. They finally defended their title one time against a team, Tozawa and Otis, who I love, but let's be honest, they had no business even fighting for a number one contender spot. The last time they won a match was 2024 before their Four Corners match. So, like, the team that they just defeated, like, honestly, it's not much to celebrate. I love them. I wish they had more. I wish Otis and Tozawa were booked stronger, but they're booked as jobbers. So, okay. Usos, you beat the jobbers. No big deal. So Usos they probably should be a C. They should probably be a C, but I'm giving them a B- because of excused absences. Let's do Rhea and Io Sky right now. Full disclosure, I'm not a big Rhea Ripley fan. I love the Usos, but I don't like Rhea Ripley that much. When she's a heel, I kind of like her, but babyface, no. And they hug too much. But that said, I have to give this team I have to give them an A. I would have to give them an A. And the reason is they have been defending their titles multiple times. They're showing up on multiple brands because the women's tag team division is like the tag team belts can be fought anywhere. And they even have themselves an arch nemesis in the Kabuki Warriors that brought them together. Rhea and Io, even though they were talented single stars, they have a history that brought them together, and it's not just, these guys aren't doing anything, let's just put them together. No, there's a reason for this tag team to exist, and they're all over the place. They've main evented Raws, and storyline-wise, the tag team division has been red hot even, so I would give Io and Rhea an A. I would give them an A, even though Rhea's not my favorite. I'm going to put my feelings aside and just try to judge it as impartial as possible. They get an A. Now let's go to the MFTs. The MFTs are hard, okay? So they literally just won like 2 or 3 weeks ago. They haven't really had an opportunity to have a title run. However, we can still judge it on a couple things. First off, they won it in a feud. They are right now, the MFTs are feuding with the Wyatts. So that's a plus. That is a plus. I love not just a title change, but when there's some animosity and a storyline to accompany it. So that's a plus. However, here's the problem. Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga were the ones who beat the Wyatts. But since then, I think that Solo has given the titles to Tonga Loa and JC Mateo. Hate that name. If that's the case, if Tonga Loa and JC Mateo hate the name, if they're the champions right now, then I'm going to give them an F. I would fail them because that means that they literally were handed the belts. They weren't even given an opportunity to fight for them. And so, yes. But if it's Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga who are still the actual champions, then I will give them an incomplete right now because it's too soon to tell. Now that's not a punishment. That's just need more time. It's almost like a student just got transferred 2 weeks before all the grades were supposed to be submitted. But if it's Tonga Loa JC Mateo, hate that name, then no, that's a fail because they basically they cheated. They copied off someone and they got caught. Let's do now the Intercontinental title. Oh, this one's gonna make a lot of people upset. Dirty Dom, I'm giving him an F. Now hear me out. I love Dominic Mysterio, and his first title reign would be grade way higher, but we are judging his current title reign. His current title reign is his second title reign, and he won it off John Cena. Now that was an amazing experience right there. You know what? That match alone, I might give him a D minus. I don't. Let me think. Let me talk more about this. So he wins it in an amazing matchup against John Cena, but since then, he's had no feuds whatsoever, and no title defenses whatsoever. And that is why I feel like it's been over 70 days, right? It's been over 70 days, and the guy has not done nothing with the title. And you can say all day long, well, he's injured. And that's why. Well, then he needs to be stripped of the title, or he needs to accept the failing grade. Because as the Intercontinental Champion, he's done nothing. Dominic Mysterio is the type of character who could literally have an injury, still be on TV, and be involved in storylines. I'm not saying he has to defend his title, or he needs to be stripped of his title, but I am saying that if he cannot defend his title, he needs to be in storylines. He needs to be ducking everybody. He needs to be doing something. To make the Intercontinental title prominent and prestigious and want people to go after it. But no, we just taking him off TV so we forget. We put our heads in the sand sometimes, and that's what we did with Dominic Mysterio. So, that said, his first title reign, I really enjoyed. His second title reign since beating John Cena, not so much. I'm giving him a straight up D minus. Because there is an injury involved and that awesome way that he did win the title. So he can move on to the next grade, but barely. What about the best in the world, Becky Lynch? She gets an A+. A+. Actually, wait a second. This is her title. This is her second title reign too, so we got to judge it on her second title reign. Let's think about this real quick. So she won it back from Maxine Dupree on a rematch. So she wins it back there. She has defended it again against Maxine Dupree, but in doing so, she was in the Royal Rumble and made Natty look strong. She's in a feud with AJ Lee, and even though I have issues with how AJ has been presented on this run of hers, you can't deny when she's around, the story is elevated. I believe that Becky has made the Intercontinental belt very valuable, and even though this is her second run, I still think that she's doing a great job with it. You feel its importance. You feel like it's a big deal. There's AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. They have a good feud going on with animosity and hatred, and the title is a part of that feud. If you look at Julia, and we'll talk more about her in a second, she's feuding with people kind of, sort of, but nobody really cares about the U.S. title. Becky is in a feud, and that title is part of the feud. So I'm going to give Becky Lynch an A+. Becky Lynch gets an A+ with her Intercontinental title reign. Let's talk Julia now. I've kind of been lukewarm on Julia since coming to the main roster. I get it. She was great in other promotions and NXT and everything, blah, blah, blah. But I'm only judging the main roster run. But I am starting to like her more and more. But she doesn't make the U.S. title feel special. This second run has been better than her first run, I will grant you that. She has beaten Alexa Bliss, and it does seem, and Chelsea Green, but I don't think anyone's really coming for the belt. In fact, Julia herself is now trying to be a 3-peat champion. That's her thing right now. She's going for the tag team titles, and she's trying to get into the Elimination Chamber so she can win the title at WrestleMania and have 3 championships instead of just focusing on her U.S. title, she's focusing everywhere. Where Becky isn't even thinking or hinting about a main championship run. She's happy with her Intercontinental title. So as an Intercontinental title champion, that's why Becky is an A+. And Julia, unfortunately, I'm going to give her title reign a C-. I'm giving it a C-. Now, if it was her first title reign, I probably would have straight up gave her a D. But I do feel that this one's just a little bit better, but it's not much. It's not much. Julia as a character is better, but as a U.S. champion, I just don't feel like she cares about that title enough, and she don't have people going for it. So now let's go to the men's champion, the men's U.S. champion. Now, this title has been all over the place since October. Sami Zayn started the U.S. title open, and then that went to Ilya Dragunov, and now it's at Carmelo Hayes. I'm going to give Carmelo Hayes a solid B+. And I could understand if people wanted to give him an A-, but I'm doing B+, because it's the law of diminishing returns. We've had too many U.S. Open challenges with kind of the same people. It's always going to be Johnny Gargano, Axiom, Rey Fenix, someone from NXT or TNA, and then either Ilya Dragunov, The Miz, or Carmelo Hayes. So I do feel, Shinsuke Nakamura as well. I do feel that it's time to stop. It's time to stop the U.S. title open challenge. However, that said, it has still done wonders for Carmelo Hayes, who has been kind of in booking purgatory for a year and a half, 2 years now. So this was great. This was great for him. The championship really gave him an opportunity to showcase himself. And if his feud with The Miz had been stronger, instead of just a random SmackDown where he just randomly wins, if we would have made a feud actually out of The Miz trying to become champion, I probably would have put Carmelo Hayes at an A-. But as it stands, as the third person in the U.S. Open Challenge lineage, it's just not hitting as hard. But at the same time, I'm super happy for Carmelo Hayes to have it. And I do think that he's holding it. I do think that he's holding it with honor and prestige. It's just too much of a good thing. 89%, the highest B+ you could get. That just leaves the big championships. We'll start with Jade Cargill. Gonna give her an F. This sucks because I do like Jade Cargill. I actually like Jade Cargill, and I like her character. I also like that when she goes on social media, she's always just making fun of people, saying, I've been champion for 100 days, and what are you gonna do about it? Shut up, you're losers. I wish they made her do that on actual TV. Like, straight up, I like that Jade is playing into the fact that she hasn't had a title reign, and I wish they would let her do that on TV. Because then I could excuse the no title reigns. She comes out, yes, she smack talks, but that's all she does, and she does it week after week after week. The Jordynne Grace Jade Cargill feud isn't really, like, I don't even really get it. Like, I don't feel anything other than I know Jade's gonna win, and Jordynne Grace is just a placeholder until WrestleMania. So whether you're watching this before or after SmackDown when Jade finally gets a title defense, it's been too little, too late. No real story to put your teeth into other than I'm gonna beat you. No, I'm gonna beat you. Yeah, Jade is more entertaining on Twitter than she is on TV, but that's what I'm judging. I'm not judging the title reign off of Twitter. So I'm giving her an F. No title reigns, no stories, no nothing really. But I hope that turns around. I am a big Jade supporter, but her title reign sucks. And then we'll go to Stephanie Fakir. Stephanie Fakir, her title reign, I'll give it a B-. I'll give it a B-. I think people are going to hate me for that. And the reason why I give it a B- is I don't see a lot of character from Stephanie. I don't see a lot of character work coming from Stephanie Fakir. And I feel that her feuds, while she did defend the title, she has defended the title a couple times. It's like, did we really think Nikki Bella was going to win? Did we? I think I actually did predict Nikki Bella winning one time, but I mean, in my heart, I really probably didn't think Nikki Bella was gonna win. And then Raquel Rodriguez, I was hoping Raquel would win, but no. Stephanie fought those two in various different matchups. Her entire title reign. And then I just don't feel that I've seen character development from Stephanie, and I don't think I've seen any real story from Stephanie other than Raquel attacking her. And I will say Raquel did attack her in a really good way, but it's just now that I feel that she's going up against Liv Morgan that we're about to get into the best part of her reign. So I'll say this. I'm giving her a B- right now, but I bet if I had waited 3 or 4 weeks or until after WrestleMania, I probably would have graded her higher. I probably would have gave her a B+, because I think this feud with Liv Morgan is going to really elevate everything. But as it stands, she's still passing. Hey, B is above average. So Stephanie Fakir is having an above average title reign. So don't get too mad at me. And that just leaves the men. CM Punk is a little tough. If this was the beginning of January, I probably would have given him a D. Honestly, when he won the title at Saturday Night's Main Event, he went like 3 or 4 months with no title defenses. And I was like, wait a second, you said you were going to be a fighting champion. However, in the beginning of January, he had a match against Braun Breaker. Then he went up against AJ Styles. And then he went up against Finn Balor. And then he gets into a huge angle with Roman Reigns. Like that right there tells me that now his title reign has fully started. Kind of like what I just said about Stephanie Fakir. If you give it her like 3 or 4 more weeks, her grade would probably be higher. But instantly, since 2026 started, CM Punk went from a D all the way to an A. I would give his title reign right now an A. The world title feels super important. You got Roman Reigns and him main eventing WrestleMania for it. Like, this has always been the second place title, and now it's the top dog title. And not just that, we have on the horizon that main event, but CM Punk is still like, you know what? I'm still fighting. Give me Finn Balor. Right now. And it's not just out of respect. They hate each other. There's real feelings involved in these matchups. Now, granted, I know Finn Balor's not going to win, but it's nice to see an actual champion who is consistently fighting, and there's actually stories. Earlier with the Usos and Alpha Academy, there was no story there. It was the Alpha Academy won a number 1 contenders match, and Tozawa wanted to feel like a wrestler and not a joke. That was the story there, but it wasn't really a story between Alpha Academy and the Usos. CM Punk, him and Braun Breaker felt like a story between those two. Even AJ Styles felt like a story because it was like, hey, AJ, you want to do this before you retire? Little story, but still. Finn Balor and CM Punk. Now, that was kind of like just, I respect you. So there wasn't much story there, but what came out of that first match did develop into what we're getting now, which is a full-blown story. And then Roman and CM Punk, well, shoot. I did a whole video on how much of a story this is. So honestly speaking, if 2025 hadn't been such a horrible start to the title reign, I probably would have gave CM Punk an A+ also. But now if CM Punk beats Roman at WrestleMania, I'll give his title reign, I'll give him a full A+. But right now, I'm giving him an A, but like 94%. 96% this title reign is, and that's surprising with how bad it was in 2025. But, well, you know what? He turned it around. So A for CM Punk's title reign, and Drew McIntyre, A+. Drew hasn't been champion long, so it could go down, but why I like Drew McIntyre's title run so much is that, A, he did beat it from Cody Rhodes, the Golden Boy. Nobody thought it was going to happen, but he did it. And then he's showing that he's a smart champion. He's involved in multiple stories, whether it's Sami Zayn, who has never beaten him, but he's in Saudi Arabia, his home country, his home turf, and Drew McIntyre calls his shot, and then he shoots his shot, and then, well, he makes his shot. He beats Sami Zayn. he interferes in the Royal Rumble to prevent someone he hates, Cody Rhodes, from coming at him. He's in a program with Jacob Fatu right now, even. Just a lot of stuff is happening. Drew McIntyre, when CM Punk and Roman Reigns were talking about each other, Drew McIntyre is so important that Drew McIntyre, for a good, 2 or 3 minutes of Roman and Punk's conversation promo, dealt around Drew McIntyre. That's how important Drew McIntyre is. Remember when other wrestlers would reference Roman Reigns because that's how important Roman was? Well, now Roman and CM Punk are referencing Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has done a great job to make the belt seem important to him. Now, you might be saying, well, Drew McIntyre, he ran away from Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu the other day on SmackDown. He's a heel. He's supposed to do these kind of things. But at the end of the day, if he wins and he outsmarts people and he keeps that championship, he's got the championship that everybody wants, everybody's gunning for. That the entire Elimination Chamber, the main event, revolves around who Drew McIntyre is going to face. Drew has done a great job in a very short amount of time to elevate the title, to elevate himself in the process, to elevate Jacob Fatu, to make Cody Rhodes interesting. He's doing great stuff, and I want to see him. I want to see him on SmackDown. I want to see what he has to say about what they said about him on Raw. You get what I'm saying? Drew McIntyre's must-see TV, in my opinion. I'm giving him an A+ grade. So there you have it, boys and girls. Those are my grades for every current champion. Now you grade this video. Tell me how I did. All right, boys. All right, girls. See ya. Bye.